Yo, what's going on, guys? Seth Spartan here, nutrition, training, and hormone expert and Prometheus Pro bodybuilder with Prometheus HRT, the world's best testosterone and hormone replacement clinic. Use my code Spartan to save on either testosterone or HGH replacement therapy or peptides or Anavar, Anadrol, and the list goes on as long as you qualify. Guys, without any further ado, this is Anadrol versus Dianabol, answering the ultimate question, which is better? Which is better for muscle gain, strength, fat loss, performance, show and contest prep, and safety? So we've got 6 questions or 6 categories to answer to break this down, and then ultimately we will answer the question, which is better, Anadrol or Dianabol? Guys, Anadrol and Dianabol are both available with the prescription from Prometheus HRT if you qualify, along with hormone replacement therapy. Having said all that, let's get started. And guys, if you have not already watched Anadrol Unleashed or Dianabol Unleashed, go ahead and do that. This is going to be just a short, fast, sweet to the point video. We're not going to be going super in depth into compound structure, anabolic androgenic rating, real world studies, and some of the other stuff. We're going to keep this video shorter. So if you want all of the information, go watch Anadrol Unleashed or Dianabol Unleashed. Having said all that, I'm Seth Spartan. Here we go. Starting with number 1, which is better? We got to answer the first question. This is the question that everybody is here for. Number 1 is muscle gain. Is Anadrol or Dianabol better for muscle gain if we're comparing and talking about milligram per milligram? So in the case of 25 milligrams of Anadrol versus 25 milligrams of Dianabol, we'll take that. Which is better for muscle gain? I'll give you guys a second to think about this. And the answer is an obvious Anadrol. Anadrol is by far, and I mean by far, superior in terms of muscle gain or building muscle. And, even without the studies, if somebody thinks that Dianabol is better for muscle gain than Anadrol, they have clearly not used pharmaceutical prescription grade Anadrol or Dianabol. So, and again, both of these are available from Prometheus HRT. So first category is muscle gain. Anadrol blows Dianabol out of the water for muscle gain, hands down, without a doubt, milligram per milligram. Moving on to number 2, strength. Let's talk about strength gains from Anadrol or Dianabol. Which is better for strength? And this, I'm sure more people are going to get this one right. Anadrol or Dianabol for strength? Well, obviously this is going to be more obvious than the last one, but it is Anadrol. Milligram per milligram, Anadrol is far superior than Dianabol in terms of strength gains. And this is not just because it's a more anabolic compound milligram per milligram, and also Anadrol being a DHT derivative and hardened against metabolism in the human body. But Anadrol is going to give you a lot more strength, not just because of those 2 things I listed, but because Anadrol causes a decent amount of water retention. And we're not just talking about filling out the muscles. We are talking sub-Q. We're talking total body water retention with Anadrol, increasingly at higher dosages. But even at 25 milligrams, you're going to get increased strength from bloating or intra-water with Anadrol. Now, obviously, that's only a part, but it should be noted when talking about strength. So in terms of strength, milligram per milligram, Anadrol versus Dianabol, Anadrol all day, every day. And if somebody thinks otherwise, they have clearly not used pharmaceutical grade prescription Anadrol or Dianabol. Moving on to the third point. Covered muscle gain, covered strength. What about fat loss? Anadrol versus Dianabol, what is better for fat loss? Number 3. All day, every day. Again, back in the Anadrol camp. Anadrol is by far superior for fat loss. and the medical studies give us a lot of insight into this. Anadrol actually burns a lot of fat, guys, when looking at studies, okay? And why, we can get into, watch my Anadrol Unleashed video, but it has to do with Anadrol being not just a potent stimulator of the androgen receptor site, and having a high anabolic rating or ratio, but also the main point is being a DHT derivative. Anadrol being a DHT derivative anabolic steroid versus Dianabol is a testosterone derivative. We know that DHT in the human body is going to enter the bloodstream and then attach onto, be exceptional at attaching onto fat cells, especially around the trunk and torso, and basically hitting those androgen receptor sites on the fat cells and telling the fat cells to release stored body fat. We know that DHT is a much potent stimulator of this fat burning effect than testosterone. And obviously, Anadrol is a DHT versus Dianabol is a testosterone based derivative anabolic steroid. Moving on. Number 4. This one's going to be fun. Performance. Which is better for performance, Anadrol or Dianabol? Well, if you ask Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's going to say Dianabol, right? But the question is, in the real world, what is going to give you better performance? If we're talking about endurance, stamina, and just overall increase in performance boost. Anadrol. Anadrol is a clear winner here. Now, I know some people are going to be upset about this, but you have to realize that even more than equipoise, Anadrol increases red blood cell count. Anadrol is prescribed in the United States, not just for a variety of conditions, but one of the main ones is anemia or low red blood cell count. So Anadrol, again, US prescribed medically for anemia. Anadrol is a potent stimulator of red blood cell formation and also the action on the kidneys to basically pump out an increase in red blood cell and increase hemoglobin. So if we're talking about performance, Anadrol is going to boost Dianabol much more in terms of endurance and stamina when talking about increasing, not getting winded as fast, having more stamina in the gym. Now, on the flip side, if somebody is taking, well, this can happen with either Dianabol or Anadrol, but if somebody is taking too much Anadrol or Dianabol, they're both C17 alkylated steroids, and they're taking too much, it's taxing the liver, they're going to get a lot of lethargy from taking these. Because again, when the liver is under stress, under strain, guess what's going to shoot up? AST, ALT, and that's going to cause things like fatigue, lethargy, and some nasty side effects. But excluding that, milligram per milligram, what is going to give you more overall performance, endurance, stamina, and the like? It is going to be Anadrol all day, every day. Main reason, that huge boost in red blood cell count that you're not going to find with Dianabol. Again, Anadrol exceeds even equipoise in this regard. And also Anadrol having a much higher anabolic rating. This shows up in doing things like an increase in stamina and endurance, being able to push farther past the pain. And Dianabol is not weak in this area. It's just Anadrol does it so much better. Moving on. Number 5. Let's talk about show and contest prep. Number 5 is which is superior for show and contest prep. People are probably going to guess this one also. All day, every day, Anadrol. Number 5. Anadrol is by far superior for show or contest prep. And this is not just a bodybuilding show, guys. We are talking about getting in shape for a photo shoot, a modeling event, all these things. Anadrol is going to take the cake for show and contest prep. Now, I talked about how Anadrol can increase, bloating, increases water. And if you want the full mechanism behind this, go watch Anadrol Unleashed, but it has to do with Anadrol actually showing an affinity to binding estrogen receptor sites in the human body, even though Anadrol cannot and will not convert into estrogen under any circumstance. We know that Anadrol can bind estrogen receptor sites, and this is what gives Anadrol that mystery bloating effect, all right, systemically. Okay, having said all that, why is Anadrol better for show and contest prep? One big reason, it jacks up red blood cell count, like we talked about, even more than equipoise. This is going to show up in terms of muscle fullness and also the V word. The V word being vascularity, okay? Are you going to hold a little bit of water? Yeah, but you're going to hold a lot less water than Dianabol. Why? Because with Dianabol, short half-life, rapid conversion to the strongest estrogen metabolite, your estrogen levels are like this with Dianabol. Even if you're dosing it every couple hours, you're just going to get those spikes. It cannot be mitigated with Anadrol. That is not going to happen. So both hold water, Anadrol way less, and takes the pros, takes show and contest prep for these reasons. Moving on to the last point. And the last point has to be talked about, the last point being safety. Safety, I could have put this first, but again, watch my Unleashed videos on either Anadrol or Dianabol for everything. Everything on pros, cons, and the such. So, in terms of safety, what is better, Anadrol or Dianabol? Give you guys a second to think about this. What is better, Anadrol or Dianabol? They're both C17 alkylated oral steroids. Anadrol is by far safer, milligram per milligram. Now, they're both C17s, right? Just like I said, they're both C17s, but C17 oral steroids are not created equal. Some are much harder on the liver just because of the molecular structure and how your body processes it, and some are way easier. So Anadrol, milligram per milligram, 25 milligrams of Anadrol versus 25 milligrams of Dianabol. Anadrol is much easier on the liver. And now people think, I want to debunk a myth real quick, and then we're out of here, this video's over. With Anadrol, people think that Anadrol is the worst thing possible for the liver. It's terrible on the liver. It hurts it. It's just wicked, okay? This is not true. Anadrol, milligram per milligram, has one of the lowest toxicities out of any oral steroids. Anavar, Winstrol, Dianabol, and we can just go down the list, all right? With something like oral Primobolan beating out Anavar. Having said that, Anadrol is one of the safest oral steroids on the liver. The problem with Anadrol, guys, is that people will take 100 to 150 milligrams of Anadrol a day for weeks and weeks and weeks. People will not do that with Dianabol or Winstrol or Anavar, okay? But people will do that with Anadrol. Okay, and if you look at a lot of the cases of toxicity, people will mix alcohol with oral steroids, and this is obviously going to compound the effect. But in terms of milligram per milligram, Anadrol versus Dianabol, Anadrol is way easier on the liver. Dianabol is just Winstrol and Dianabol. Winstrol, Dianabol, Halotestin are some of the worst oral steroids on the liver. Go watch my Unleashed profiles on those for everything. Guys, that is it. This is everything you need to know. Anadrol versus Dianabol. Muscle gain, strength, fat loss, performance, show, contest prep, and safety. Now that we've got all the scores in, let's add them up. We have 6. We have a score of 6 for Anadrol, and we have a score of 0 for Dianabol when going through these 6 comparisons in terms of rating each one, which is better, notch by notch, category by category. So with a 6-0 lead, Anadrol versus Dianabol, let's answer the big question which you all are here for. Which is better, Anadrol or Dianabol, for bodybuilding, fitness, performance, and hormone replacement? Everything. If you said Anadrol, you're right. It is obvious. Anadrol is by far the clear winner. So in terms of which is better, Anadrol all day, every day. Again, only use these compounds under doctor supervision, safely, legally. And guys, that is it. Seth Spartan with Prometheus HRT, and we are out of here.